at these committees, sometimes it looks like personal attacks.
No, we are in this committee. And one of the things that I am always careful to repeat here, and I think I said so earlier, is that we are looking at systemic problems here. I said so.
Chairperson.
So when you say these committees, let's talk about this one. This one, you were asked a question about this inquiry. And you raised a question of good faith in this inquiry, in this process. And I listened very carefully. So we need to resolve it. What is your anxiety specifically? Have you been personally attacked? You, today?
Chairperson, please allow me to answer, because then when you interject me, then my thought process goes away.
I will not, but when you say these committees, I'm like...
This committee.
Okay, good. So this committee, yes, today, because you were asked by Honorable Blose here that you've been sitting here all day today. That's what he said. I remember.
You are interrupting me again. Please
No, I'm explaining why it's important that you stick to the question asked. I'm saying Honorable Blose said, you have been here today, you've been observing today. You raise an issue of good faith on today's proceedings. I don't want you to say these committees. I want you to say today, because that's what the question was. You raised a question of good faith. So I just want to know today, what specifically gave you the impression that we are not acting in good faith?
Chairperson, I don't know if Honorable Blose was asking me around today or my impression of the inquiry as a whole.
Okay, I'll allow you to talk about the inquiry as a whole, but you were not here. And one of the things I try and I insisted at the beginning, if a monkey is not yours, don't fetch it. You are here today. You are here today. Yeah. He asked you a question about today. And your specific answer was, when the Auditor General says we've performed at 80-something%, where is this state answering that question? So I just want us to clear this up. What about the Auditor General's outcomes says this committee should not ask further questions? If it does, it's engaging in bad faith.
Chairperson, I feel that you want me to answer in a specific way, because when I try to answer, you interrupt. So
okay, please answer, Ms. Kuma.
Can I just not?
Yes, please do. No, it's not fine.
Because I tried 3 times to say, please don't interrupt me. Can I? Because then my thought process and my flow gets disturbed. But then you keep on doing it, Chair, and then you go to specific things to say I must then talk about them, while I was doing it holistically. So, Chairperson, with all due respect, can I just not?
No, you have to answer questions here. So let's start again. I said to you, I have an anxiety that when you say that the Auditor General has rated you 86% on your objectives, where are these governance failures that we are talking about here? And you said that in the context of good faith and bad faith. I am then saying to you, and I gave you examples of some of the things we've discussed here, about legal costs per claim, about invoicing, externalizing R1 billion, etc., etc. You are having an anxiety about good faith. I need to understand what has occurred today that gives you that anxiety. Alternately, is it your belief that if the Auditor General has given an plus 80% rating, then this committee must not ask further questions because the Auditor General has already concluded? I will sit and listen.
Chairperson, around my issue around good faith is because today there seems to have been a narrative that wants to be taken that as executives we don't know what's happening at the RAF. There was a narrative around my qualifications, and I think the whole of today I've been answering issues around the head legal and my qualifications, and whether if there was no head legal, then that's why there's this mess. there were comments made by members to say this EXCO seems like it does not know anything. Why is it here? Because everything they said, they were not there. But yet we were answering questions. And that's why I'm saying, can we then engage in good faith to try and resolve the issues of RAF? And I had also said that I know there are issues at RAF that needs to be taken care of. And this committee has all the rights to have this inquiry, which we welcome, so that it can help us as the RAF towards sustainability.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that those members who were asking you those questions, in your opinion, were engaging in bad faith questions. Okay, let's leave it. But I just want to advise that we must watch our words when we speak, because we do ask then the follow-up questions in this way. Honorable Member.
No, thank you, Chair. I just want to start here, Chair. I think I cautioned about this the other day, and I was going to say the benefit of my colleague, Honorable Bloss, is that he's sitting at transport. He can ask at length because he's got both background and information. And many of the things that we are asking are not necessarily for us, but for clarity and for everything. But at the same time, if we are going to witch hunt, character assassinate, and be bold about that on people that we want to appear before us, we're going to create a problem. I warned about how we manage our own language in this inquiry. And I'm not going to say if ever Ms. Khumalo feels the way she feels, she's wrong. There was a day I even said myself, if I were to be one of the officials to come here, I would think twice, having heard in the during this inquiry, during question time and during our deliberations, the language, we ask them of predetermined results of certain things, yet we ourselves have predetermined the results of this same inquiry, and that's wrong. It shouldn't be. I just wanted to say that, because today, again, it comes here and then we get shocked. We shouldn't be. Now, what I wanted to ask, firstly, to Mr. Litswalo. Mr. Litswalo, on the categories I asked earlier on, did you also have a category where you considered how many people have died waiting for their money and not being loaded? And in that, did you have such cases of people who passed on waiting for their monies to be loaded, but their monies were not even loaded?
I don't have a specific response to that, but I know that people pass on, and I think it could have happened. I am not sure. I think it could have happened.
Oh, thank you. We'll wait for the full report on that. I think Mr. Niko's name came once in this committee, especially where people are charged and who assist in terms of looking into that. However, I will not draw you in because my time is very limited. However, please also prepare a report if you can in these categories, because it's very interesting. Last thing, as much as you say on the finalization of these cases, you were no longer there. maybe Mr. Manyasha or Miss Kumalo, Miss Manyasha, sorry, darling, or Miss Kumalo would assist us. Was there a replacement of the people that were dismissed for failing to load claims?
Thank you, Honorable Mentor. The regional managers did make plans to replace some, not all. So they did hire some people on contract basis, but they have not really fully capacitated and replaced those people. So there is a struggle in the region for capacity.
Is there a plan in place to make sure that we operate maximally and in full capacity?
Yes, the last time we engaged with the Chief Claims Officer, the current Chief Claims Officer, even before the previous board was dismissed, we had requested the claims divisions to go and look at the capacity that they require and make presentation to EXCO so that we can approve the capacitation of the claims division. So there is a plan currently. I'm not sure if the current board has already approved it.
We're coming together nicely. So that plan is to reconcile the pre-existing conditions and the existing conditions around the backlog and the claims of people not being processed. Is that the case?
It is both, to deal with the backlog and to deal with the new claims as they come in.
When the management was here, they said they had started an operation, you gave it a name, where they are calling people now to establish their whereabouts for everything that is a claim there, whether more than the prescription timeline or whatsoever, to establish if they are sitting with valid or not valid claims. Do you know about that, and how far are we?
Yes, Honorable Mente, that is the backlog campaign that we are running through our contact center that was established. So the contact center agents are looking at the database that we have at the Road Accident Fund, and they are calling the last numbers that were registered on the system. They are calling those claimants to request them to forward the outstanding documents. So they inform them of what document is outstanding, not only individual direct claimants, but they're also calling law firms, because there is a lot of law firms also that have claims on the system, but with missing documents. So I don't have the details, but I think over 60% of that database, they've already called them, and the response is not that good in that aspect also. We're not really getting the documents that we require.
Now, what is the turnaround time where you get people and they respond to you in terms of finalization? Let me also give you an example. After that particular information being shared with us, we ran also a campaign to say, if you have a claim at RAF and you are not assisted, please come forward. I think we have now sent 3 batches to RAF, but on those 3 batches over a month, we have only received 1 feedback. 1 person was responded to. And we have sent 3 batches of more than 30 people. I'm asking now, what becomes a turnaround time frame for you to investigate and respond to people?
Honorable Mente, unfortunately, I do not have that detail of the turnaround time, but I can check with the team if I'm allowed to request that information for you.
But
Yeah.
maybe Member through you, Chair. In terms of the Act, we're supposed to look at that claim within 60 days. That's why if we don't, then it will be valid in all respects. But I guess yours, it's a different one to say there are claims already. You want, it's a query.
It's claims that have been there, and 70% of them, they are before 2016. 70% of them, what I identify, they were before your time. But we can't get responses. We're not getting responses. So my difficulty then becomes, let's not say things that we don't do. We come here, we say we're looking for people. Then people respond. They reach out to you. We reach out to you with every detail, link numbers where possible, ID numbers, everything. But there's no response. Now, what becomes a difficulty? Exactly. Let's not be cosmetic about helping. Let's help. That's why I'm asking, what then becomes your turnaround when a person says, here I am. I'm Veronica Mende. Here's my ID number. Here's my link number. I submitted my claim 2016. I had lawyers and everything. There was a determination of my payout and everything. But since then, nothing happened. So that's what I'm asking.
I think that's, yeah. Chair, we would then have to respond back with Rodney Mkabela is the project manager for the call center. I know there are business processes in terms of when people call, what happens to the call, and after how long should you then respond to them. We'll be able to take it up. Well, we can't, I guess the committee will be able to take it up with them.
You can share the details of whoever we can speak with, because at this point I am confused. We say this, but in practice it's not what we tell the people, and that is part of the things that are wrong at RAF. The second thing is that I'm glad that you acknowledge there's a problem, and there's a big problem, and it's not of your own making. You found it there. Now, as a special project person that have found these problems in the system, and you got rid of many activities that were taking place, and some of the activities were just taking money, people billing, and then had mastered their way around the system to make sure they stay and they milk and then they get money as much as possible. Some of them, my colleague listed them: lawyers, medical aid, hospitals, everything. You got rid of that. Great, well done. Now, in doing that, there is always this fallback of an argument. The law dictates the following: that lawyers must be here, this must be there, this must be there. If the lawyers must be insourced or outsourced is another argument. As a special project, which I think your first project was to look into this law, because the enabler of this environment is this law, which was designed to make sure that the environment benefits the few, but unfortunately we all went to school and then now we're all benefiting, and then it becomes a problem. I want to understand what became your special project in changing the legislation, and if you can identify the areas that you targeted and make sure that you change them so that the legislation now is suitable for an environment which will be friendly for the claimants and friendly for government.
The legislative changes were discussed between the executive and the board, and that falls under Ms. Kumalo's purview. So I know that there are specific areas that were targeted. If I can just give over to her to explain the specific areas.
Thanks, Honourable Member. I think I'm sort of caught between a rock and a hard place, because what I will be talking about will be the proposals that you had done with regards to the RAF amendment bill. But as you would know, that the minister has withdrawn it, and they are now introducing RAPs. So with regard to RAPs, I'm not too au fait with that. They've just recently had workshops with the RAF management in terms of saying what they want to introduce on the RAPs bill. So I can't therefore then talk about the RAF Amendment Act proposals because it has been withdrawn. Thank you.
That's where I was going. That you are aware of the contents of RABs, because RABs and what was there before, which was withdrawn, are two different things. So in your workshop, what is it which is in alignment with the mission you were driving in RAF in terms of making sure that it's a friendly RAF for everyone? Is there any of the things you propose that are in line with what is in RAPs?
Honorable Member, unfortunately I was not at the workshop, but I don't know if I'm putting Nico on the spot to be able to respond to it. If not, then we can be able to put that in writing.
Oh, by all means, Nico, come in.
Honorable Chair, maybe before Nico comes through, because I was at the workshop, I attended the workshop at the Department of Transport, I think about 2-3 weeks ago. One of the things that the Deputy Minister said was that we need to identify things in the RAF Amendment Bill that should be incorporated into the RAPS bill. And that is not a problem. I think the legal team is looking into that, and the legal team of the Department of Transport to say, if there's something in the RAF Amendment Bill that we feel should be, for example, I think the payment in annuities and other things, but maybe Nico can add into that.
Yes, please, Nico, come in.
Good evening, Chair. So I think that's still a work in progress. I mean, I already started looking at it in terms of a task team that had been requested by the Deputy Minister to say that the Department of Transport and us from the Road Accident Fund should form a task team and look at that. We're still in that process. So I don't think it's anything I can speak to currently.